Oh man, it's been a minute, huh? Okay. So I was asked to talk a little bit about. I'm in this like corner of the room here that's now kind of like a podcast area slash investigation or interrogation area. I feel like some people have already witnessed or have. I think the camera's a little off. Have gone through this little corner back here, and it's pretty intense, the questions that can come out. But the question that I was asked was specifically, what did I do in order to really feel a change or really create a different outcome for myself that was actually going to happen? So I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to kind of bring up some things. I wanted to thank some people along the journey. And then I wanted to be really kind of honest with a lot of people here. And I'm very, very grateful for one, and I am thankful. And the first topic that I'm going to talk about is why men struggle to overcome obstacles, right? So why would I struggle to overcome an obstacle? And I've overcome a lot of obstacles. I have learning disability. I had, car accidents where I was told I wouldn't be able to do certain things. I had problems with the law where I could have went into the system. I've done a lot of things where obstacles that were placed inside or in front of me were either self-made obstacles or obstacles of life. That's what just happens. And one of the biggest things of last year is we realized that there was a giant obstacle that was placed in front of us. And that obstacle was really somewhat out of our control. And at the same time, it was very much in our control. And it was depending on what you did and how you looked at it that really created the outcome. And one of the biggest myths that I find, or what I found in the past year, was that men specifically will say they don't have any obstacles. I can overcome anything. I don't have any problems. I'll break through anything. And that's just such a weird facade, man. It's just a story and a lie that you tell yourself because, you don't want to tell people you have feelings, or you don't want to express vulnerability to others. And it's something that becomes more and more prevalent, right? And more honest and being aware is the privilege that men have, right? So it's constantly talked about that men have better and upwards and have privileges over women and things like that, and yet they can't talk about the obstacles that get put in their place. And even in marginalized groups, minorities, things of that nature, it's even more obstacles get put in place. And these obstacles become this like distraction, this inability to overcome, or this kind of almost like a barrier that doesn't want to be broken down and doesn't want to be talked about. And like my disability, my being a minority, my being first generation American, things like that. If I don't have these conversations, if I don't open myself up and am willing to specifically address the barrier that I have with it, or the label that I've taken on from it, it doesn't allow me to really move forward in my own growth. And fuck everybody else, because really what it comes down to is my own growth. And it doesn't matter what people call me, what people think of me, or what people say. It only really matters how I take what they're saying and I put that label on me. So if I do put the fact that I'm disabled and I have this disability and I just allow it to kind of bog me down, I'm not going to ever really succeed or move forward from it. If I do put on this label that I'm Hispanic and that I'm first generation American, I've never spilled blood for this country, and I'm not really like part of it, or all this other bullshit, again, those are just more barriers that I'm setting up that I have to overcome. And the sooner you get those barriers out of your way, the better off you are. And a lot of us are afraid of change. A lot of us are afraid of opening up. A lot of us are afraid of vulnerability. And something that happened last year was specifically the shutdown of the gym, this idea of moving away. And thank God for Alec Hansen really, really providing me this ability to take the gym from him. He gave me basically gave me the gym. There was things in the past that he really wanted to hook me up on. And I could have just been, egotistical. I could have been someone that just wouldn't take the handout, and I fucking took it. I was like, thank you, sir. And I'll take whatever else you have. And then that made me realize something, that you have to be willing to accept handouts when you need them, and you have to be willing to act on them too. So I could have just took the handout and done nothing with it. I could have just collected money. I could have just moved on. I could have done a lot of things. But for me personally, what I realized was that it was an opportunity. It was an opportunity to really change the way I look at the world and the perspective around me. And I started grappling and really, really struggling with this ability to overcome obstacles and how I was going to do it and what was going to make the change. And the challenge was also to talking about it. So when I would talk to men about it, men would kind of blow it off and be like, "Oh, fuck, dude, you just got to work through it. You just got to put your head down, blah, 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 blah." And then other things, it would be the opposite. I would talk to my female friends, and they were really almost taken by this idea of a man, a strong, blah, blah, blah man, talking about having obstacles and really feeling vulnerable with these obstacles that are in his way. And it was almost like they lost trust in me, like look at this guy, this fucking guy can't even overcome small hurdles in his life. And it was more of, not that I was looking for any type of justification or anything like that. I was just trying to really voice and let other people know where I was in my situation and how I felt. And as I went further into this, I realized that it all really came down to my perspective. It all came down to my perspective. Once I was willing to change the way I looked at the world, willing to change the way I looked at things, then what I looked at changed. It wasn't the same. And it all came down to this concept of a shift in perspective, really willing to make the move to move from one way of looking at my life, my world, the way I thought of myself, my entity, everything, to suddenly realizing like, no, this is the shift. This is what I need to look at. This is how I need to look at life. I need to go through life and realizing that everything is a miracle. I need to go through and realize that I am grateful for everything I have. I need to go through life and realize that, hey, if someone's willing to give me a handout, I have to take it. I have to act on it. I have to be able to really, really break through these obstacles by overcoming this concern and fear of looking at the world in these like kind of negative eyes. And it comes down to this integrity and this idea of being willing to not only shift your perspective of the world around you, but to hold yourself and those around you in this integrity. And it's been hard. It's been hard on me to truly find men, women, children, people, anybody with real, true integrity. And I do have people around me with integrity, and somewhat the integrity is not there, and I can hear it. I can hear the bullshit, like, well, I was trying to get in shape, but, COVID got me. Well, if you wanted to get in shape, then why did you fucking let yourself tell yourself, hey, it was okay to drink every night? Why did you let yourself tell yourself, hey, it's okay to eat every night? Same thing with, hey, you know what? I want to get a new PR. Well, okay. Well, what are you doing to do that? Are you physically actually training this movement or this repetition of reps for max rep pull-ups? Are you drilling your pull-up because you want to get it? Or, hey, business. Oh, fuck, man, I lost everything. I don't know what to do. Are you out there pounding the pavement? Are you asking for jobs? Are you being rejected? I know I tried to do anything I could do to ensure that my family moves forward. And in this process, I started realizing, oh man, not only do I got to change my perspective, not only do I got to hold myself with integrity, but now I have to be willing to work in a humble state. I have to be willing to find new beginnings and start new journeys without being scared and I needed to be vulnerable and willing to open myself up to rejection, to failure. And to me, those rejections and failures really just turned out to be a perspective of learning, right? And that's how I looked at that from there forward, was like, oh shit, hey, you know what? I tried to get a job, it didn't work out for me. Okay, well, that's not a negative thing. It's probably because I'm hard to work with, or maybe they just didn't really have work. And that's kind of that's the story. But it was a situation for me where I had to understand that it was okay to be rejected. I had to have vulnerability to go out there and try to fail. I had to be willing to do that. And so many people are not willing to do that. They're not willing to, you know, physically tell themselves no. They're not willing to physically encourage themselves to do other things that's outside of their comfort zone. They're not willing to have open conversation about shit that people don't want to talk about. And that was something for me that I had to make sure that I isolated myself and was willing to start having these conversations. I was willing to operate in a very high and like to remove things around me that wasn't willing to have integrity. So for me now, moving forward, even at the gym, someone who has failed in the past with nutrition or dieting is not to say that I've given up on them. What I have given up on is their ability to give up on themselves. So I'm going to call people out on their bullshit. So I'll call you out on your bullshit about your business. I'll call you out on your bullshit about your fucking body. I'll call you out on your bullshit about life. I'll call you out on it. And it's up to you to take that in. It's up to you to act on it. It's up to you to change your perspective and realize, no, I'm out of shape. Oh, no, my business is failing. Oh, no, this is what I need to do to make the shift in myself. So really, I was just willing to make a shift, and I'm very, very grateful specifically for those around me, my wife, Jillian. Again, we went through really, really hard times and we're still working on shit. And same thing with, someone like Alec, working for someone for 9 years and then willing to just hand me something that, it was his baby, but he knew that for it to survive, it had to go in that direction. And for me to survive too, it needed to go in that direction. So, and then someone like Coach Sam to physically take me under his wing and say, hey man, this has been your calling. You've always wanted to help men out. And now here I am, and I'm willing to make the shift. Are you?